They come from everywhere, big cities, small towns, to where they've long been told it all began. A so-called red trail of sites, statues, and museums considered sacred to Communist Party history. And under a statue of Mao Zedong, with their fists raised, groups of tourists recite their party oath, committing allegiance and fidelity, they say, to observe the party's discipline and guard all its secrets, ready at all times for sacrifice.
This
is the day the Communist Party of China was born, he says. We've come to this place to thank the party and Chairman Mao. With the 100th anniversary of the Communist Party's founding, there's been a boom in red tourism in places like Yan'an. It was the base for communist leaders until 1948. China's Communist Party doesn't get praise in much of the world, but here it has rarely been more popular. It's all the same as it was. It's very inspiring, he says. More than 70 million people flock to red tourist sites like this every year, some dressed in replica Red Army uniforms, to visit revolutionary sites, see the cave houses where Mao and communist leaders lived, and take pictures at any number of monuments.
This is China's Red Holy Land, where throngs of visitors make the pilgrimage to connect with the party's version of history.
What's missing from displays and slogans? Any mention of darker times under party rule, like the millions who starved during the so-called Great Leap Forward, the persecutions of the Cultural Revolution, or the bloodshed in Tiananmen Square. Here and at other red tourism sites, there is only one carefully crafted story, and President Xi Jinping has called on people to learn it to ensure the party's 95 million members pass on what he calls red genes and revolutionary fire to later generations. To boost patriotic education, red tourism sites have been upgraded. Travel companies are promoting them, and to update the whole scene for social media, there's even a new red-themed pedestrian mall that's primed for selfies. It's all good for business, too. As an industry, red tourism is expected to pull in more than $150 billion in revenue in the next 2 years. More important for the Communist Party is maintaining relevance with younger people who don't have the same connection as older people who've lived through it. Nationalism is running high these days in China, with the pandemic under control and the economy growing. But feeling party loyalty is something different. It's why Zhang Xiaoqiang traveled to Yan'an from Hunan province with some co-workers. He loved the show. He says to Chinese people, the Communist Party is the one that we respect the most, because there would be no China without the Communist Party of China. Of course, you would be hard-pressed to find anybody here speaking poorly of the party. China's lockdown on free speech and dissent is not a thing of the past. It's still in full force. It's a way of life here. Look at Hong Kong, where for the past year, a national security law has changed everything. Journalists are being arrested, newspapers forced to censor or close down, and the pro-democracy protest movement there has gone silent. Back at the cave house where Mao lived, inside it's sparsely furnished with a few chairs, a desk, and a bed. Tour guides comment on the difficulties that leaders faced, and people listen. Outside, some 11-year-old girls were part of a video project designed to teach toddlers and kids about Mao and the party. It will make them love the country more and feel grateful to the country, she says. A tidied-up version of history is fundamental to propaganda here that attempts to shape and fortify the Communist Party's past and ensure a grip on power in its next century.
Hey, NBC News viewers, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here, and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.